Hello, my name is Estella Mabry, and I'm a site team leader at Generations Incorporated. We at Generations Incorporated miss seeing you and the other students we work with. I hope that you are continuing to read books and find ways to have fun. Today, I would like to read you a story you'll enjoy, and it's one of my favorites. The title of the story is Curious George Goes to a Costume Party, and it's written by Margaret and H.A. Rays. Let's begin. This is George. He was a good little monkey and always very curious. One day, George and his friend, the man with the yellow hat, were on their way to a party at Mrs. Gray's house. This is Mrs. Gray's house. George could not wait. He liked parties, and he was looking forward to seeing Mrs. Gray. But when the door opened, George did not see Mrs. Gray at all. He saw a witch. "Don't be afraid, George," said the man with the yellow hat. "This witch is our friend." The witch took off her mask. It was Mrs. Gray after all. "Oh dear," she said. "Did I forget to tell you this was a costume party?" George had never been to a costume party before. Inside, he saw more people that he knew. They were all wearing costumes. There was his friend Bessie dressed up like an astronaut. And was that Billy? Why, he looked just like a mummy. George wanted to wear a costume too. "I have some dressed up costumes upstairs," said Mrs. Gray. "Would you like to use them to make a costume, George?" Mrs. Gray took George to a room with a big trunk filled with clothes. "Borrow anything you like, George," she said. "I have just the thing for your friend downstairs." George tried on lots of costumes. The first was too big, the next was too small, another was too silly, and this one was too scary. At last, George found a costume that was just right. George was a rodeo cowboy. He wore a vest and pants with fringe. He even had a lasso and a hat. If only he could see himself in the mirror. George was curious. Could he see himself if he stood on the bed? No, he needed to jump higher. George bounced off the bed just a little, but he still couldn't see. He bounced a little more and a little more. Soon George was having so much fun, he forgot all about looking in the mirror. He bounced as high as he could until crash. George bounced off the bed. He smashed into the night table and got tangled up in the tablecloth. Suddenly, everything went dark. George heard the people downstairs gasp. What was that? Was that a ghost? A ghost? George did not want to meet up with a ghost alone. He dashed out of the room and down the hall. He wanted to get back to his friends in a hurry, and he knew the fastest way. He hopped onto the stair rails and sailed whoosh down the stairs. "It's a ghost," someone screamed. Everyone turned. They looked scared, and they were looking at George. The ghost might be right behind him. George flew off the rail and landed plop in the arms of a farmer. But this wasn't really a farmer. It was his friend, the man with the yellow hat. Soon everyone stopped looking scared and started to laugh. That's not a ghost. That's a cowboy, laughed a policeman. That's not a cowboy. That's a monkey, giggled a princess. That's not just any monkey, said Bessie. It's Curious George. Everyone clapped and cheered. They liked George's Halloween costume. You gave us a good scare, George, said Mrs. Gray, and I'm glad to see you found some interesting costume. Now, why don't you take your ghost outfit so you can join the party? And the guests barbered for apples, lit jack-o'-lanterns, and played some party games. Prizes for the best costume was handed out. There was one prize for Bessie and one for Bill and two for Curious George. You were the best ghost and the best cowboy, said Mrs. Gray. Everyone had a good time at the party, especially George. Too soon it was time to say goodbye. Good night, said George, and happy Halloween. Thank you.